In Asia, the primary drivers of business today are semiconductor, aerospace, a little bit of defense, automotive tremendously, and then in many of the Asian countries we have a very strong presence in academic. Apart from that, we have a lot of production testers in general electronics, manufacturing, in those kind of areas. And one of the emerging trends really within the automotive space, for example, is testing of autonomous and assisted driving kind of technologies, because that's in the news, and many manufacturers are going ahead and adding these features in their automobiles. The other part of a very fast growing trend is the implementation of IoT, and hence you need IoT devices and semiconductors that cater to that space. So we do a lot of semiconductor testing in that area. So what that means really is the RFICs, MEMS devices, those kind of tests are propelling our growth, and those are really fitting with the mega trends one sees in technology and in the economy. In fact, the China 2025 plan, a major part of that is the semiconductor push, is one of the major reasons why we've invested so much in the semiconductor space, to make sure that we can cater to the ever-expanding needs in China. It's a very important both macroeconomic trend and a technology trend, because very often what we see is in China, a lot of the application spaces that technology companies go into are new, and hence the kind of devices that are required for those new application spaces really fit well into our platform strategy that enables our customers to be able to take our platform and really meet the converging needs of technology. So that's a really good question. I'll start with the second part of the latter part of the question. A lot of people talk about embargoes and trade war. We see China and the United States as natural partners in business. So yes, there will be some political trends that may go up and down, but overall, over a span of the next 5, 10, 15 years, we see expanding business opportunities in China. Now back to, are there the challenges in the Chinese markets with regards to semiconductor? Really what we have seen in working with a lot of the high-tech companies in China is that it is very driven by differentiated technology. So as long as we can provide truly differentiated both technology and economic value to the Chinese customers in semiconductor, then we really don't see challenges. And as you know, our drive both for the China markets and the worldwide markets is to create this differentiated technology that lowers the cost of test, enables our end users and our customers to be able to test ever converging trends in technology. So I'll start with the technology part. In the late 90s, when I started my career at National Instruments and was primarily around the product strategy of PXI, a lot of the technologies in industry came out from the West. And that meant that a lot of our efforts really needed to be to cater to Western companies in order to satisfy their needs, and then that would propagate through the rest of the world. What I see now is a great balance in innovation around the world, not just in the West of China really, it's around the world. And because of this balanced innovation and this talent map that is spread far more in the last 20, 22 years than in the past, it enables us to take our platform approach across different technology sectors in different parts of the world. One of the things that I've seen, especially in the application spaces, where there is tremendous innovation on how people interact with technology in order to derive value and increase productivity. And it is more so in the emerging markets, including China, because their productivity has been an issue in Asia for a while, and the use of technology to increase productivity can be seen all the way from agricultural trends, how agricultural produce is sold in the market, eliminating the middleman, all the way to the very high-tech electronics that we see, how it is designed and how those applications are taken to market. There is a clear difference though in the go-to-market strategy of our customers, and so an NI as a company has to cater to that. Very often in the emerging market economies, we see a need for high value, low cost, quickly changing products, while in the more developed technologies, in the more developed countries, the adoption, for example, 3G, 4G, and soon to be 5G is actually slower than in the emerging markets, because many of the emerging markets can leapfrog and skip a technology to go forward. So the leadership strategies are actually, there are some similarities and there are some differences. So we always start with having people at the forefront, and that is common across the board. Now, when you go to highly heterogeneous societies, like if you take Southeast Asia, for example, or when you look at the APAC market as a whole, it's a very heterogeneous society. And the ability to communicate between cultures, understand the cultural nuances, is extremely important. In the Americas, for example, it's a more homogeneous approach to society, and therefore some of the most standardized practices can be implemented. Europe, I have worked in a little bit, is again probably more heterogeneous than homogeneous. So there are those approaches to people that are slightly different. Then the way we mobilize our teams towards a common goal, there are common elements across the world, and the common elements are really driving passion and sense of purpose. How that is done is nuanced based on the different cultural differences between the different countries and the people we hire.